Welcome to the 392nd episode of the Video Games podcast, where I talk about any game at all, including new stuff, old stuff, and anything in between. If it runs on electricity and responds when you press start, discussing it here is fair game. Today, I am recording on June 8th, 2024. My name is Brad Galloway. I am the one-man host of this show, and I'm also the editor of GameCritics.com, which is a website that uses the full range of numbers from 0 to 10 when it comes to scores, along with accessibility info on every review that we publish. Thank you all for joining me today. Welcome back if you are a returning listener, and if this is your first time, glad you're here. As usual, I will kick things off with housekeeping, where I'm going to be talking about tidbits, news items, industry happenings, basically anything randomly game adjacent that's caught my eye in the last 7 days. But before we do that, let's just do a real quick general check-in. Let's take the pulse, as it were. So how are you? How are you doing? Things good? Things all right? Fine? Going well? Okay. Terrible? Yeah, I get it. It's a mess out there. As for me, I don't know. It's kind of a weird week. It's been pretty busy. Lots of stuff going on, like work-wise, outside of gaming. So I feel like I haven't really had as much time to devote to playing or just reading up or watching trailers or whatever as I usually would like to. And I gotta be honest, I don't know if you're feeling this way or not. I don't know if it's just me, the cosmic rays this time of year or what, but I'm having a real struggle like settling down with just a game to really sink myself into. I was really kind of like vibing with Capes, which I'll get to in a second. I've got a lot to say about that. But I put it down for reasons which will become clear pretty soon. And since then, I have just been really bouncing around from game to game to game. I went back to Bad North, which I talked about last episode, and I really like it a lot, but I'm a little bit puzzled because I feel like this campaign is going on forever. And for a roguelike, I'm feeling like this run is just like, oh, dude, when am I going to get to the end? I don't even see the light at the end of the tunnel on this one, and I'm enjoying it still. I'm still doing like 2 or 3 islands a night, and I haven't even died yet. I'm still in my first, well, my first restart run, not my first run ever, but I played it before, but I restarted, and I'm still on this first run, and I'm just like, I counted up the islands that I've conquered in that. I'm like, dude, I've been playing this for ages, and I keep thinking, are you sure it's not infinite? And I looked it up on Google, and everybody's like, nope, you can actually roll credits on that, and I'm blown away by that because I feel like the runs are really long, so I'm chipping away at that. I went through a bunch of other stuff, just really rapid fire. I'll cover some of it in the main body of the show coming up. And I just can't really seal the deal in any of these. None of these feel like, I mean, and a lot of them are really good. I'm like, yeah, this is cool, but it's just not the vibe right now. And I guess I just don't know why that. Maybe I need a game break, perhaps, because every once in a while, I don't know about you, but every once in a while, I will get the sense of just like, okay, I'm just not getting as much enjoyment out of games as I normally do. And, you know, my first instinct is always, well, I guess the first 10 times this happened, I'm like, oh God, do I just not like games anymore? Am I done with games? What does my life even mean? And then I go, no, let's just take a break. Because I think games is certainly like a lifelong devotion for me. I mean, 40 years deep, I'm not going to quit now. But I do think I hit these periods where I just like, I'm just good on games for a little while. Like maybe there's nothing super interesting. Maybe there's nothing that's really brand new, nothing that's sparking my creativity or my interest. And that doesn't mean there's not good things out there. You know, it's kind of the same thing like when you eat a burger, right? You eat a burger the first time. Yeah, man, this is really good. I love hamburgers. They're great. And then you have another one the next day. You're like, yeah, still good, but okay, this is good. I like it still. And then you have one the third day and you're like, okay, so maybe I could go for like some chicken or something or a piece of salmon or whatever. PB&J cereal, you know, like after a while you kind of feel like you still like your first thing. I mean, at no point do you say, I fucking hate hamburgers. But at some point you're like, I would like to have something other than a burger. And I still love it. And I'll come back to it. I'll have one again in the future. Just not like right now. And I think that maybe that's what's happening. I think I'm just kind of like hitting that wall where I haven't really found a superstar game in the last, I don't know, couple weeks or whatever. And so I'm feeling like, okay, I've had enough burgers. I think maybe I want to do something else. Maybe I'll have some chicken, which means maybe I'll catch up on my movie backlog. My movie backlog is like a joke. It's like infinite. Or maybe I'll read some books. I read some books recently, like actual hardback, paper, printed page books. It was weird, but I went back to them and I'm like, oh man, this is kind of fun. I used to read books like all the time when I was younger and had more available free time for myself. Haven't done that in a while, but I'm like, okay, reading books is pretty cool. I like that. Maybe I should do that for a while. Or maybe I'll catch up on my TV shows. I've got like an infinite list of TV shows to catch up on. Maybe I should do nothing. Maybe I should clean up my basement and get some stuff done around the house. I mean, I've got like a bunch of chores that could probably be done. I got to go scoop the chicken coop. I could do that. So I don't know. I think that maybe I'm just kind of in one of those zones where nothing's really popping right now, but I know that if I take a little break, I'll be revitalized and rejuvenated. I'll come back to it. So anyway, that's kind of like where I'm at this week. I have a few more comments that'll come up in a second, but that's like my baseline. So I guess, how are you doing? Anybody else feeling that right now? I've talked to a few folks in the Discord, Videogames Discord, and elsewhere, and it seems like there's a few other folks kind of feeling it too. So maybe it's like seasonal. Maybe it's just, I don't know, change in the daylight hours. I don't know. Anyway, so that's it for me as far as personal check-in. Just a quick update on the chickens. I had a few requests recently of people wanting to know more about the chickens. If you don't know, but I think longtime listeners know, but if you're a new listener, welcome again. We do sometimes talk about chickens. I had 12 chickens in my backyard. I've got a pretty good sized backyard, which I'm extremely grateful for. And we had one of them that got eaten by a falcon a couple months ago, and that was really sad times. We've had a couple in the past who have broken their necks, and chicken necks are extremely fragile. I don't know if you know that or not, but chicken necks are like crepe paper. And we had, well, they get kind of fatty after a while. They're big, they're land walkers most of the time. When they're young, they can still fly like okay. You'd be kind of surprised how much they can fly. But once you start feeding them a bunch and once they start laying eggs a bunch, they get like real heavy and they stop practicing their flight. And so they just become pretty terrestrial. And so one of our fatties jumped on top of another fatty as they were leaving the coop, and it broke their neck like instantly. We had one way in the beginning. She stuck her neck through the chicken wire fence that we have, and she got spooked. I think a car drove by and like honked its horn or something. She got scared. And when she pulled her head out of the chicken wire, she got caught. Her comb, that little red wobbly thing on top, got stuck, and it jerked her neck in just such a way she instantly like fell dead. So chicken necks are super fragile. So that was that. We lost like 3. And then recently, and I apologize if this is a little bit graphic, folks. I'm going to get just graphic for a second. So we had one of the chickens who had a prolapsed vent. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about the details of that, but if you're curious, you can Google that. You can read up on it. And it's a bad thing that happens to chickens for reasons. I don't know exactly what causes it, but it happens every once in a while. And this one particular chicken had a prolapse vent a couple months ago. We gave her a bath. We isolated her. We took some care of her, and she got better. And we thought things were fine. But then something happened, and she prolapsed again, and it was pretty bad this time. So we did the same thing. We gave her a bath. We got her some medication, some spray. We isolated her to give her a break from laying eggs, and we thought she was going to pull around. She did not pull around. It actually got a lot worse. And so when I saw how bad it got, it was, oh man, it was pretty bad. I'm going to spare you the gory details, but it was pretty bad. And so we just decided it was time for like a mercy kill. So, that's what happens when you have farm animals sometimes, or I guess just any pets in general. Sometimes they're suffering, and she was definitely suffering. It was not a good scene. So I just had to go back there and do the deed, and it was really sad. So we took care of her. She's not suffering anymore, which I am grateful for. I'm sure she is also grateful for that. And we moved on. So we did not eat her, though, by the way, in case anybody's wondering. I have eaten chickens that I've killed before, but these ones that we have now are just kind of egg layers, and they're kind of, I don't want to say they're pets because they stay outside all the time, and we're not really that close in that sense. But chickens get kind of tough if you let them live for more than like a year. Most of the chickens you get in the store are like a year or less, probably closer to 6 months, honestly. And if you let them around for a while, they get kind of tough. Now, it's not to say you can't eat them, but they become kind of like stew chickens, or you got to do something with it, right? You can't just like roast it up because it becomes very tough and steak-like, which is fine, I guess, but it's different. And when you have one of those like yard chickens for a while, people notice right away, like it's not what they're expecting. So we don't tend to eat these ones. But anyway, so that's chicken update. We're down to 10 now, a grand total of 10. I do not think we're going to be replacing the ones we are lacking anytime soon. I think 10's a lot. We've had a lot of eggs, had a lot of trouble getting rid of eggs lately because like all my neighbors have eggs. We give them away for free. And like literally everyone around me is like, no, we're good on eggs. We're fine. We have plenty of eggs. And so, so I guess, Despite the fact that we eat a lot of eggs in this house, I think we're good. So maybe we're gonna coast with 10 for a while, and maybe we'll get some more next year. We'll see. I do not think we're gonna get any more this year. I think 10 is probably a good enough number for now. So okay, there you go. As requested, your chicken update. Sorry, it was kind of sad and gross, but there you go. I keep it real on the show, as evidenced just now. Okay, let's get to actual housekeeping here. So yesterday was basically the new version of E3 now that E3 is no longer a thing. Electronic Entertainment Expo has gone the way of the dodo, at least temporarily and for the foreseeable future. So a lot of people have rushed in to fill that void. I think as an industry, we're still kind of used to looking forward to lots of game announcements this time of year, like what's new, what's going on, what's down the pipe. And so a lot of people showed a lot of games yesterday. Now, full disclosure, I'm a grown-ass man. I have a job. I have a backup job. I'm a stay-at-home dad. Plus, I just need to sleep sometimes, and sometimes I just like to sit down once in a while and play some games. So, real talk, I didn't have time to catch up with all of those announcements. I'm planning to watch some of them today. Today is a little bit of a slower day for me. So once I get done with this podcast, going to round up the family. We'd like to sit together on the couch and just watch game trailers or, trailers of whatever. So we're going to do that this afternoon. I don't know that we'll watch all of them, but we'll watch a good number of them. But I say that because I have not had time nor opportunity to catch up on all the announcements. So if you're tuning into the show, wondering what I think of all the different games that got announced, I don't know. I'm super sorry. I literally just couldn't get to it. But I know that Summer Game Fest, the one that Jeff Cayley does, dropped, and I heard a lot of people saying there was lots of stuff to talk about there. Day of the Devs happened, and that was put on by, was it Sucker Punch? Yeah, Sucker Punch, I think. Tim Schafer. Is that right? No, that's not right. What the hell is this studio name? It's Double Fine. That's what it is. Oh my gosh, having a senior moment there. Sorry, folks. Double Fine. So they get together and do a lot of like indie organized stuff. That's really nice. Lots of good stuff there. Usually, historically, we'll see. I think the biggest thing, though, that I think happened yesterday, the thing that most people in my circle were excited about was Inner Sloth. Inner Sloth is the developer of Among Us. Now, Among Us is not a game that I have played or that I have wanted to play. It's been a presence in my house for a while because my son really got super into it for like a long time. He and his friends played it for like a long time, and it got very popular. I think they did a deal with Epic to have some of that stuff show up in Fortnite. They've done crossovers in a few other places with other indie games. I know they showed up in Vampire Survivors and I'm sure other places. So they were like wildly successful. I think everybody on Earth was talking and playing about Among Us for like a while. So they just announced that they have started their own kind of like, I don't know, publishing / indie boosting house called Outer Sloth, which I think is very cute and clever. I approve of the symmetry in the name there. So they're taking all of the money that they have raked in from Among Us, and they are using that to boost other fellow indies. So I took a quick look at the trailer, and I got to say, their slate looks fucking killer. I don't have the full list of games right now. That's one of the videos that we're going to be watching this afternoon, but I took a quick look, like I said, and basically every game that I looked at, I was like, okay, I'd play that. I'll play that too. That looks good. Yeah, this looks good too. So whoever's in charge of choosing games or however that works over there seems to have like assembled a murderer's row of stuff. So check out the Outer Sloth website, or I guess go to Inner Sloth and then you can find the link to Outer Sloth, or maybe vice versa, whatever. I'm sure there's a bunch of videos online, and we'll have more information about this soon. Like I said, they announced, I want to say like 6 or 8 games that they've been working with, and every one of them looked like just a real winner. So check that out. And I think it's really awesome that they decided to give back in this way. I mean, I think it's probably reasonable to think that they could have kept all that money, bought like 19 Ferraris and mansions, and just become like a rich douchebag like a lot of people do. But instead, and I'm sure they're keeping some money. I mean, come on, like, let's be real here. But they are taking a lot of that money and turning it back to the indie community, which is fucking awesome. I love to see people giving back in some way and boosting these other people. I love to do that myself in my other line of work, which is not video games. So I do a lot of giving back myself. I volunteer a lot of my time, and I'm happy to see other people doing that in video games as well. So cheers, man. Cheers to Inner Sloth / Outer Sloth. I think based on what we've seen so far, we can expect great things from this. So that's awesome. So congratulations to everybody who's getting a boost from them. Also, speaking about other stuff, the Accessibility Showcase just played yesterday as well. That's the one put on by Laura K. Buzz, and this is the indie-focused games showcase with a emphasis on accessibility, as it's right there in the title. So they have games which spend a lot of time including features which open up their gameplay to people of all ability levels and any accommodations needed. So, for example, they'll assemble a bunch of games, and then each game will go through all the accessibility it has. They'll talk about like their subtitles, their audio cues, their visual cues, colorblind options, control options, the way that they design their games, talking about maybe using specific shapes or colors to cue in players who need those sorts of things, different choices they've made in the design process to make the whole game more accessible in general, because accessibility is a lot easier when you design it as part of your experience from the ground up rather than trying to shoehorn it in 5 weeks before launch, right? So Laura Kate Dale has done a great job getting this accessibility showcase off. I believe this is the second year in a row, and I think she's also going to try to have a winter showcase. Now, full disclosure, I'm biased on this one because, number one, GameCritics.com has been doing accessibility for basically 20 years. And as I said at the top of the show, every review that we run has a full suite of accessibility info. We have remappable control info, we have subtitle info, we have colorblind info, we also have information on just the general publishing stuff, and we also have information for parents if they want ESRB information. So literally every review we run has all that because we care about gamers who need accessibility or want accessibility. It's not just people with disabilities that have these. A lot of people who have no disabilities whatsoever take advantage of these features. So we want to be as responsive and respectful to players of all kinds, and so we have that. So number one, I am biased towards the Accessibility Showcase because they are in our same basket. They're in our lane. They are doing exactly the work that we are doing, and I'm really happy and proud to see that. But also, I'm biased for a second reason, because Laura puts her money where her mouth is, and in this accessibility showcase, or accessibility, excuse me, they make it accessible. So they have regular video, they have closed captioning for people who want that, they have audio descriptions for people who have visual disabilities, so you can have audio descriptions of what's going on screen. They have British Sign Language in case you are a deaf player. If that's the case, you're probably not listening to this podcast, but just if you know a deaf person in the UK, let them know that it's got BSL, British Sign Language there. And if you're a deaf player in America or the West, or you use ASL, American Sign Language, I was the person who did that. So I am biased because I was a part of the show. Full disclosure. I was hired to do the American Sign Language there. So if you go to the Accessibility Showcase on YouTube, if you look in descriptions, there's links to the audio description, the BSL and the ASL. And if you want to see yours truly in action doing my other job, which is sign language, then you can see me doing my thing right there. So biased, so biased, absolutely friggin' biased, but I admit it, and I think it's biased for a good cause. So check out the Accessibility Showcase. Tell a friend, let people know that someone else is doing good work out there. Check it out. Final thing to know, speaking of Access and ASL both, the Logitech Adaptive Esports Series is going to be restarting this summer. It's something that's been going on for the last couple of years. They host online esports tournaments for players with disabilities of all kinds. They have 3 different categories. I don't know exactly what the categories are. I believe the categories are players who require minimal adaptation. I think the second tier is players who have specialized controllers. Oh, I feel like I'm screwing this up. And I think the third category are people who are quadriplegics who need even more assistive controllers. I could be totally wrong on that, but I feel like in my head that's how the categories broke out. But anyway, they've been hosting a series of tournaments over the last few years, mostly Rocket League. And again, bias, full disclosure, so fucking bias. Oh my God, bias. I was doing the American Sign Language along with my partner for these videos. So when you see the interpreter in the corner, if you see the bald guy, that's me. So I've been doing those. I've been very happy to support this series, and I think it's a great opportunity for players to show that they can compete with the big boys. I've seen some pretty fucking amazing Rocket League play over the last couple of years. Stuff that just like blew my mind, and my hair flew off, as you'll see, because I am completely bald in these videos. They also are doing a new series this year. It's going to be changed up a little bit, though. They're starting off the series with Brawlhalla, which is a game that I am not super familiar with. It is basically, like, from my quick observation, looks a lot like Smash Brothers. So, but, you know, non-Nintendo characters. They have some guest stars. I think I saw Rayman in there. I think I saw Ezio from Assassin's Creed. I want to say that I saw some Tekken characters, maybe, if I'm not imagining things. So it looks like a version of Smash Brothers, but with other IPs, other characters. And they're going to be having that be the kickoff event for the new Logitech Adaptive Esports series. I believe it debuts tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow because I know I'm doing the sign language for it tomorrow. So I guess if not tomorrow, then very, very soon after that. So check that out. Keep an eye out. Tell a friend. They're always having new openings if you want to compete. If you are a player yourself with disabilities, they always want more people to join their community and get involved. They give away prize money, they give away swag, they give away other stuff, and it's just like a good time. They've got some good community events for players with disabilities to join in. So I'm just 1,000% in favor of this, and I'm honored to be a part of it. I'm so glad that I've been able to support it for the last couple of years. So check that out. If you want to see yours truly doing his thing, you can see me there. And I think that's all of the general housekeeping I have right now. Let me take a quick look. We do have a couple questions that were sent in. These are questions that were sent in a little bit ahead of time by Elijah in the So Videogames Discord. Let me get to these really quickly. Thank you for sending these in, Elijah. I really appreciate it. First question is, would you say there's a number of sequels where any franchise should be capped at? And if so, how many? Okay, this is an easy one to answer because I don't think there's a limit. I think as long as the developers have an idea that's worth making, then I think it's totally fine to keep going with that. I mean, I don't think that there's any particular number where it's like, okay, they're out of ideas by now. There's no way. I mean, I think people easily can carry a franchise too far. I'm not saying it never gets taken too far, but I don't look at a game and go like, well, I only want 3 of these. And if 4 shows up, well, then that's got to be garbage. Like, that's just not a thing that happens. So I don't think that there's inherently any number of sequels where you should stop. I just think if you've got something to say, if you've got a new idea, new game mechanic, if there's a story component that people are really into and they want to keep it going. I mean, there's loads of reasons to do a sequel. And I think video games are different than TV or movies because there's often less reliance on a narrative to carry things. I mean, I think that, you know, that doesn't really hold true for movies or books or TV because sometimes you really do feel like, man, there just isn't anything else to say here. I think we've covered this and now we're kind of reiterating ourselves. I mean, I'm not going to say that's always true. I mean, maybe there's some genius writer out there who feels like they could keep a series going forever. But when you talk about story-focused medium like books, movies, TV, I do feel like the optimal experience is to have a beginning, middle, and an end. And after decades of watching American television where we never believe in having an end, I think we have proven pretty decisively that you can take things too far if you don't wrap them up in a reasonable manner. So that holds true for TV, books, and movies, but I don't think that's necessarily true for games because you don't necessarily rely on narrative arc all the time for games. I mean, you can, but you can also have new mechanics, iterated mechanics. You can have different spin-offs. You can have all sorts of different things that really rely on gameplay. And there's many, 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 many different types of gameplay, many ways you can nuance that, many ways you can spin it and change it. So I don't think there's inherently any upper limit, although I think just human beings in general will kind of run out of steam after a while, and I don't think there's any shame in ending something. I would much rather see people end something and end on a high note rather than drag it out and eventually get to a place where we're kind of sick of whatever it is they're working on. So I hope that answer made sense. I see one other question here from Elijah as well before we get to the main portion of the show. He said, is this your card? It's the Ace of Clubs. I appreciate the effort, but no, my card was actually the 2 of Spades. Sorry. Okay, that's it for questions. That's it for housekeeping. Let's get to the main portion of the show. But before we do that, would just like to take this opportunity to remind people you can help support this podcast by going to patreon.com/the So Videogames podcast. Every little bit helps with the cost of hosting and such. If you like this show, if you want to see the show continue, If you appreciate what we do here, then any little bit of contribution would be greatly, greatly appreciated. Even $1 helps. Even $1 really helps. I sincerely mean that. So, and thank you very much to everybody who already is a Patreon supporter. Anybody who's putting their money where their ears are, I super appreciate you. You all my bros, you all my fam. Thank you very much. Really, really deeply and heartfelt. Okay. Also, there is a So Videogames Discord, which I mentioned earlier. Any listener is welcome to join free of charge. If you want to join up and continue the conversation after the show, just shoot me an email and I will send you all the details. Okay, let's get into the main portion of episode 392 here. First, I want to circle back to Slay the Princess. I feel bad about this because it is the cult success visual novel where the player is in the role of a character who must go and kill a princess who's tied up in a basement, put out by Black Tabby Games, who do a pretty great job, actually. I tried their other game, Scarlet Hollow, and I think it's actually really rad. I got to get back to it. I started it at a time when I wasn't really ready to get into it, but I really liked what I saw. So I want to circle back to Scarlet Hollow, and I really want to put more time into Slay the Princess, but in kind of connecting to that malaise that I've been going through right now, I just have not been in the mood for visual novels right now. I just haven't. It's like I can see this game is quality, and I know that I'm going to like it. It just hasn't been the right vibe for me. And so I thought for sure I was going to get some time and just like blow through it and like have a full report for you guys, and girls and non-binary folks and trans folks and everybody. Didn't mean to genderize that. Sorry. But I just haven't been in the vibe. Like I bust out the laptop, I start to play, and then I get like really sleepy and tired, and then I'm like, oh, I started it too late. I should have played earlier, or I just I don't know. It's just not clicking for me right now, and it's not the game. I think the game is good. I played a fair patch of it, just not enough to roll credits yet. So I'll circle back. I know I keep saying this. I keep kicking this can down the road, but I swear to God, I will come back to Slay the Princess, and I will finish it because I do genuinely like it. It's just not the right vibe right now. I will say though, they are about to drop a new version of Slay the Princess. It's called the Pristine Cut. It's going to have new content. I want to say 3 new storylines, if I'm reading that right. 3 new storylines, 3 new endings. And if I get that wrong, I'm sorry. But like new content, new endings. And they're going to be console versions, finally. Which might help, honestly, because I really struggle to play things on PC. So I believe they're bringing it to every console, which is great. I think it'll be a perfect game to bring to console. Very easy to adapt. I think it'll be just like the other visual novels we have to choose from on any platform. There's also going to be a physical edition, which has a very awesome looking statue that comes with it. I haven't even finished the game, but I was kind of tempted to order it just to get the statue because it looks really sweet. A couple of the goodies in there as well. So just heads up that the Pristine Cut is coming pretty soon. So if you haven't played this yet, kind of like me, I guess, maybe hold out for that one and get the whole all-in-one package, right? And also check out Scarlet Hollow while you're at it. But I swear I'll come back to Slay the Princess. I will, for reals. Not kidding. I will. Okay, the other circle back I wanted to bring up is a little more interesting. This is Capes from Spitfire Interactive. This is the turn-based tactics game, kind of vaguely similar in spirit to something like an XCOM, where you play superheroes, your team of specific superheroes. They're all defined characters with a set series of powers and personalities. Lots of comic book dialogue. It's a story about an evil corporation taking over a city where supers live, kidnapping the supers and doing bad things to them. And so you're in this ragtag group of folks who need to, find out what's going on and stop the bad guys. Very appropriate for a comic book themed game. And I got to say, I was really, really digging this one. I was really high on it when I covered it, I think a week ago or 2 weeks ago. I think the writing is great. I think the art, the hand-drawn portraits are great. I think the actual gameplay is quite good, I think, because there are very defined powers which have different feelings, and then also there are lots of synergies where you're working as a team together to improve your powers and use these like tactics. It's not just about killing people. There's also working as a team to protect citizens, to disarm bad guys. It's a different spin on the turn-based tactics genre, and I think it's really great. So what happened was, but it's so great, Brad, why aren't you playing it anymore? Well, I'll tell you that. So what happened was I got pretty far into this game. I feel like a good chunk, right? I don't know if I was halfway, but I got pretty far in. And I just kept noticing that the difficulty kept scaling up and up and up and up, and I was getting pretty frustrated. So in fact, I even bumped it down to the lowest difficulty level, and I'm like, okay, I just want to like engage in the mechanics. I want to just like experience the story. I like these characters. This is a fun experience for me. But every level was like way too long, and every level had way too many enemies. It was almost like a joke, right? So like every stage would have 2 or 3 phases to it, where like new ads would show up, and there would already be like way too many guys to kill in the beginning. So I'm like, what is going on? Like this is so thick and so dense. Each level is taking me like an hour, if not more, and I'm having to replay a bunch of times, because also the added difficulty of this is like you can't just like skate through and do the minimum completion. If you want to get experience points, which you desperately need to power up your superheroes, you need to do these bonus objectives. And I don't even think they're really bonus objectives. I mean, you can complete a level without doing them, but it feels bullshit to call them bonus because you really need them desperately. So if you don't do the bonus objectives, then you're not going to have enough points to level up your guys. Your guys are going to be too weak to beat the next level. You're going to have to go back and like redo those levels anyway. I think it's kind of crap to call them bonus objectives. I think that they either change the way those points are awarded, or just call them like, I guess just like experience points or something. That makes it sound more required, because I do feel like they are really required if you want to get ahead in this game. So I just hit this level where I just like, my spirit just sank, man. Like I was in this area where I was supposed to stealth through, and when I got to the level opened up. There was like literally like I don't know, like 25 guys on screen or something. I was looking at this like, what is this, a joke? Like, what is even happening here? Like guys covering guys down below, guys on top, guys from far away. And to be perfectly fair, I don't think the game does stealth very well, because it's very hard to tell who can see how far, who can see what. And so I was often triggering the alarm, and one of the bonus objectives, quote unquote bonus objectives, is to not be spotted. And I really need those experience points. So I'm like, oh, fuck. Okay. Every time I got spotted, I would restart. And there's just like so many guys. It was like, it's absurd how many guys there were. And so I got to that mission. It's in the sewer, if anybody knows where that is. The sewer mission. The second part of the sewer mission. I'm like, dude, fuck this. This is stupid. So I stopped. I deleted the game. I'm like, I can't play any more of this because I like it. And in fact, prior to getting so frustrated with the difficulty, like I was like, okay, I can see this as being like a top 10 game for me this year, like top 10 of the year, because I think the premise is so strong and I think the gameplay is so strong when it's working, when you're not hitting that difficulty wall, right? But then it just kept ramping and ramping and ramping. So I Twittered the person who's handling their social media. I don't know who that person is, but kudos to them, because we were having a little bit of back and forth, and I was like, hey, look, I like your game a lot, but I'm going to have to bounce. I am not going to finish it because I'm just getting so frustrated. Like every level is twice as long as it should be. It has twice as many enemies as it should be. This is like a really absurd difficulty level. And I was really honest with them too. I mean, not in a trolling aggro way, but I was like, look, it really feels like your team did not properly test this. I think that you have scaled this too high. You probably didn't have people test your game who are, not on your dev team. You didn't have like regular turn-based tactics people play this, or not enough of them anyway. You didn't have regular ass people play this who might be interested in just the superhero concept or something. This feels very tuned for people who made this game. It's like one of those traps that you see in the indie scene where the people who make a game play the game every day for 2 years until it launches. And when it launches, it's hard as fuck because they have practiced every day for 2 years. It's not scaled for like a newcomer or a person just coming into it. I really genuinely feel like that's what happened. Like, being a critic for so long, you can kind of get a sense of these things. And it feels like they just did not properly scale the difficulty. So I said, look, I love this game, but I got to bounce. I can't do this to myself anymore. And I'm out. So the PR rep who's handling their social media responded. And again, kudos to them, gold star. I think they've been super respectful and cordial and very responsive. So great class act on Twitter doing this. And they said, hey, sorry to hear that. The addition of new difficulties are coming soon, and that should address some of this concern. We're going to have fewer enemies in some of the larger combat areas on normal and below. You're currently experiencing the game on challenging difficulty. And I was like, wait a minute. I dropped this game down to the easiest difficulty setting. Like whatever the bottom is, it's below normal. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? Is that a mistake? Did you guys make an error when you released this game? Or what do you mean by that exactly? And to their credit, they responded. They're like, no, no, no. It was not an error. Like, it wasn't a mistake. We didn't like mislabel the difficulties, but they said it was an overestimation for what would work for everyone broadly. They also said the calling the easiest level, oh, here it is, casual, was a mistake because some players did not choose it because it sounded below their general skill level, and it was still too challenging for people who were looking for story mode. They go on to say, Capes is balanced how we intended, and a large number of players have been happy where it's at. That said, we've seen and heard a lot of players have a similar experience to what you had, and we'd like to provide those players with a better balance for them. We really want to cater to as many players as possible, so introducing 2 new difficulty levels will help us achieve that and allow more people to have a good time. So we will have hardcore, challenging, which is currently normal, normal, beginner, which is currently casual, and then casual even below that. So there's that, right? So because I reached out to these folks and because other people reached out to them, we are seeing actual change being affected. So kudos to the developer. I think the developer, Spitfire Interactive, I respect that they are taking this feedback in and making changes quickly. Because honestly, I think their game is really good. And as I said earlier on an earlier podcast, I would hate to see such great work go down the tubes because it was just poorly balanced. So I definitely agree. I think it was scaled up too high. I think that if you're going to offer easy modes, or at least normal modes, you shouldn't have to go through missions that are as dense as this, that are as long as this. It really feels like a slog when I don't think this game should be felt as a slog, unless you're like one of those, people who really craves a lot of challenge. And I think this game is extremely challenging, especially if you go for the extra objective. So kudos to Spitfire for the upcoming difficulty adjustments. I'm sure a patch is going to drop soon. And I told him, I'm like, hey, I would be more than happy to come back to this game once this patch drops because I think this game is really fun. I just need it to be not torturous. And if you make these adjustments, I'll be happy to come back and report on it again. So kudos to Spitfire. Kudos to the social media person who is managing the account. I think they did a great job of just answering questions, fielding a tough situation, and trying to like stay positive. So I really respect that. And I hope they feel that I was being positive as well. I mean, I was being very direct, but also I was not trying to be mean or rude or anything, just to be very honest and straightforward. So I hope they felt that. And I thought this was just a really positive interaction overall. So cheers all the way around on Capes for now. All right, next game on the agenda here is Hauntii, Hauntii. I meant to cover this last week, and my computer hiccuped, and I lost one of my files, the file where I keep my little list of stuff I'm going to cover. And I was trying to recreate it, and I'm like, I feel like I'm leaving something off this list. I can't remember what it is. It was Hauntii. I'm sorry. So this is coming a week overdue. Created by Moonloop Games. This is a game where you are a little ghost. You start the game, and the thing that hits you in the face at first is like the art style. The art style is phenomenal. I really love this art style so much. It looks like, I don't know if this is going to mean anything to anybody, but when you're doing art projects, sometimes you will come across this art project where you'll have a piece of paper, you put a bunch of bright colors underneath, like on it, like you color the paper, red, green, blue, whatever, yellow, anything you want. And then you take like black wax and you cover the entire paper with black so you cannot see the colors anymore. And then you take a scraper, whether it's like a bent paper clip or a scraping tool or a dull pencil or something, and then you scrape away the wax to reveal the color underneath. And so you have this kind of like, I don't know, like a reverse etching almost, where you're making scrapes through the wax to see the colors, and it comes through as kind of this like neon sort of I don't know, like a light bright sort of thing. If anybody's old enough to remember what light bright is. Way back in the day, that was a popular toy for many decades. So it's got this kind of strange, that's what it reminds me of. I hope that made sense to anybody. If you've ever been in an art room, done this art project with the wax and stuff, it looks just like that, which I think is pretty boss. But anyway, regardless, it's got a very like understated, minimalist art style, but it's very rich, and I think it's really beautiful. Like every screenshot of this game just feels like frameable, right? So it looks great. That's what got me in. I was very impressed. And you are this ghost, and it looks like you're ascending to heaven. You get met by an angel. Like they reveal themselves to be like a biblical angel with like all the weird ribbons and eyes and wings and stuff. And then they kind of degrossify themselves and become like a normal looking, like human style angel. And then they start to take you up to heaven, and then something happens and you get tossed into, I don't know, purgatory, the underworld or something. And so you're trying to, I guess, gather stuff to somehow make your way back to the place where this angel can pick you back up and take you back up to your eternal reward, I guess, as that guy from Aladdin would say. What's that guy's name? The bad guy from Aladdin? Oh, Jafar, that's right. Vizier Jafar. Yes, if you've seen that, then that's what that was quoting. I didn't just get weird for a second. So I jumped into it. It's on Xbox Game Pass right now. And you know, if you have Game Pass, I mean, you're paying for it, but you get to download those games for quote unquote free. So I was like, okay, yeah, I'll give this a shot. Let's check it out. And I bounced on it pretty quickly. I think the controls are fine. It's kind of weird because in certain sections, it feels like a twin stick shooter, which is kind of unexpected. It also has you searching for like a lot of items, like you're looking for stars and other things, which is like boring, and it's weird to me that they have you do this. And I think the big problem with the searching for items is that even though the world is beautiful, there's no map. And now I heard somebody say, and I believe it was John from over at Gaming in the Wild, go check out his podcast, Gaming in the Wild, coming out of Reykjavik, one of my favorite podcasts, and John is a wonderful guy, and I believe I heard him say that the developer realizes they needed to add a local map. There is a world map that shows you which level you're in, but who fucking cares? That doesn't matter, because that is no help whatsoever in the moment-to-moment gameplay. What you need is like a little like Diablo-style map that fills in as you go, so you know where you've been. That way you can go back and find the things that you need to find, because as I was playing this, I was just like lost. I am not a great player who can mentally map. I need an actual map, and that's just me. But I feel like this game would be better off with localized map. Hopefully it's coming. But I was just like wandering around looking for items, and I just was getting kind of generally annoyed, and like the gameplay was kind of slow, and I was like, this is really beautiful to look at, but I am not having a very good time. There's also a mechanic where you can possess things. I mean, okay. I mean, tons of games have done this before where you like take control of, I don't know, like a block or something, and then you can move the block. You can take control of a like a monster or whatever, and you can use whatever powers it has. I mean, cool. People have done that before. It's fine. I don't know. This game just is strange to me because I feel like it's batting 1,000 when it comes to the art style and the vibe, but I feel like the gameplay is pretty pedestrian and honestly kind of boring. And I wish that they had done more to make it, I don't know, flow faster. Like the map would have helped. Change the control a little bit. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't, like, it feels very uninspired to play, but I love looking at it, but that's not enough for me. So I bounced. So that's my kind of basic rundown on Hauntii. I think it's cool from a certain perspective, but not cool enough to keep me in. And I'm sorry about that, because I was kind of excited about this one because it just is so beautiful. So cheers to the artistic people on Hauntii, but that's not enough. And I'm out. Okay. Next up, Warhammer 40,000 Gladius, coming from Proxy Studios. You guys know I love me some 40K. I play a lot of games, talk about it on the show a lot. This is one I've actually never played before. I saw that there was some DLC dropping for it, and I was in the middle of buying a bunch of 40K games on Steam because they just had the Warhammer Skulls event where everything was like super deeply discounted. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let's buy this. I'm buying all the Warhammer games I've never played before, and Gladius was one of them. So it's kind of hard to describe what it is. It looks very much like a real-time strategy game, but it doesn't quite play like that. It plays like a turn-based game, but everything about it is screaming RTS to me, but it does not run in real time. So I guess it's just turn-based strategy, but it really kind of doesn't feel like that. So what's going on here? You're in this planet, 40K stuff, if you're familiar, lots of guys in power armor, space marines, lots of aliens, etc. Playing on PC. I believe it's PC only. And full disclosure, I'm not really much of a PC gamer. If you listen to the show, you know that. I do not have an enormous computer monitor. I mean, I think my monitor is maybe, I don't know, 25 inches or something. Is that big? I don't feel like it's very big. Because when I started playing this game and I had it on full screen, it was like, wow, this is tiny to look at. Like, all the graphics are very small. Text is very small. The menus are very small. So I was like, ugh. This is a little bit uncomfortable. It would be even worse on my laptop. So I was like already having a little bit of issues just with visibility. You can use the mouse wheel to kind of scroll in and out and get, zoom in and out. I mean, which is fine, but I was doing it like all the time. And I'm like, this is fucking obnoxious, where I'm tired of like zooming this fucking mouse wheel. I don't know how people put up with this. But anyway, the tutorial is terrible. I want to say that up front. Which sucks because I feel like this game has some potential. I like turn-based games. I'm not great at real-time strategy, but I'm going to give that a try, I think, this year, because there's a lot of Warhammer games that are real-time strategy that I want to give a shot to. But I'm just like, okay, so like, I don't know the basics. I don't have a lot of like institutional knowledge when it comes to RTS games. So I start going through the tutorial, and like, it was folks, it's just a bad tutorial, right? Like, I think it's not clear as to what it wants you to do. It also lets you advance if you don't do the right thing. And I got my ass destroyed in the tutorial. And I'm like, that's weird. You really want to start your player off on a good note. The bad guy has fucking rolled my ass in this tutorial. And I'm like, sir, I'm just learning your game, sir. Please help, sir. Anyone, ma'am, anyone over there. You, non-binary person, anyone help me. It was weird. I got my ass kicked and I'm like, well, this is a terrible tutorial because I'm literally just learning the systems. So I struggled through, kinda limping, bloody, and I got to go back. I feel like I'm going to just restart, right? I'm going to just start from the beginning and just try the tutorial again. It's got a pretty bad UI, which I think, okay, I'm going to offend some people here. So pardon me for just a moment. If you're easily offended PC player, like, look away, like turn off your podcast or just like jump ahead a few minutes or something. But like, I feel like a lot of PC games really do shit UI. Like, I feel like they really do. I feel like they just throw up a bunch of boxes on screen and they expect you to kind of click your mouse through them, and they don't really optimize. They don't really like have a good flow for your eye to follow. They often don't follow any like logic. And I just was struggling with the UI. I didn't feel like the menus on screen were very strongly correlating to what I was seeing on the battlefield. And I just, maybe that's something that's not a big deal if you play RTS games like this all the time, or if you're a hardcore PC player, maybe that's no big deal to you. But as a console player coming to PC to play this specifically, I was like, wow, a lot of the niceties that I take for granted on console are not here. And so I was struggling with the menus and just really trying to take it in and absorb what was happening, doing a terrible job, getting destroyed by the tutorial battle. And I was like, okay, this is like a bad experience, but I am willing to say that half of this is on me because I'm just not that experienced when it comes to PC games. So I'm going to come back to this. I feel like there is potential here. I really do, because I think 40K is a strong license. Turn-based is really an avenue where 40K shines. I think that if I watch a couple videos or maybe just do the tutorial again and try to take it in a different way, maybe that will help. So the jury's out on this one, but I do want people just to know that it exists. 40K Gladius, they just released some DLC. I'm not sure how much DLC is out for it, but it's still an active game that's still in development. I mean, it's not in development. It's out. It's finished. But like, it's still being supported is what I'm trying to say. So it's not abandoned or anything. It's not like 10 years old. So check it out if you want to see 40K turn-based, something that has a very strong real-time flavor to it, even though it's not real-time. I got to come back. I got to get my head around this one. It's just not clicking for me, and I feel like it might because I do like the IP. I do like turn-based games. I feel like there's potential here. So I just need to give it a little bit more of a shot. And I do not give that grace to every game, but I will give that grace to this one. So that is 40K Gladius. Next game coming up is another PC flavored game that I did not get on with. Dig or Die Console Edition. Saw a trailer for this one. Looked pretty cute. 2D, pixel based, kind of a crafty / survival / platform / shooty game. And I haven't played one of those in a while. So I'm like, okay, let's give this a shot. Got a code from the developer. Thank you very much. And oh boy, yikes. If you want to talk about how to start a game improperly, this is exactly how you don't do that. Or you do that. Don't do that is what I'm trying to say. So they give you this quick little text cutscene. Hey, you're on a ship that sells crafting tools or machines or whatever. You crash on a planet, and now you must survive. Okay, that's fair. Good enough. You land, and it's like, oh, dude, they don't tell you what the controls are, and the controls are not what you think they are. It took me a minute to figure out how to jump, and I'm like, what is even happening? They've got like a Minecraft style like toolbar at the bottom, but they don't explain that very well. They don't explain the crafting very well. I figured out I had a crafting machine, but I couldn't figure out how to deploy it. And then like immediately they just want you to like start collecting stuff and crafting, but they don't explain what you're doing, what the goal is. And they're like, you're going to die soon. Monsters are coming. You better defend yourself. And I'm like, well, you better fucking explain the goddamn game to me first. How about that? Let's try that first. So didn't start well. And then I'm like, I eventually figured out how to dig, which was, again, not nearly as intuitive as you think it would be. And I start digging down underneath the ground because, I mean, it's in the title, dig or die. So I'm thinking I should probably dig. And then I'm in a dark cave where there's no lights. And I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, seriously, folks, everything about this is going wrong. It's like they're not teaching me anything. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. It controls weird. This feels like a game that like was put together on PC and was ported to console with very little care. The graphics are tiny. I'm just like, no, 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 no. All this, no. And again, for foreclosure, no, no. So I bounced almost immediately on this. I just don't have time or the patience for something like this. It does not feel, number one, like a very well thought out product, and it was not thought out for a console. So sorry to be harsh, but that was a miserable experience, folks. That was pretty bad. So dig or die, quick bounce on that one, and that is definitely a thumbs down. All right, final game of the show here is kind of a happy accident, honestly. As I said earlier in the show, when I was kind of bouncing around from game to game, nothing I had really was appealing to me, and I'm like, I'm just going to go into the PlayStation Store and just see what's there, see what's new, and maybe something will catch my eye. And it did. There was a game called Nuclear Blaze coming from Deep Night Games, which I'm not familiar with. It had a splash page of this like firefighter guy, kind of abstract art style, leaping towards a screen. Very, very prominent image. Lots of red. Caught my eye because red is the color that human eyes see first. So good move there. And I click into the store description, and it's like a 2D firefighting game. And there's been many attempts at firefighting games, not many of them very good, but I'm always up to try. I think it's a good idea. And I'm looking at this. I like the pixel art. It's cute. And it seems to be kind of platformy, and it looked like a roguelite. So I'm like, okay, well, I like this kind of game, so pick it up. I think it was like $10, I believe. Just like desperation buy. I need to play something, and I feel like I need something to bring joy back into my life for a minute here. So let's drop $10 and see what this is like. And it was a good purchase. I think this game is actually great. I love it. And it is not a roguelike at all, not even remotely roguelike, which was very surprising, and also a very welcome surprise. I've been playing a lot of roguelikes lately. I think there are a lot of roguelikes lately, but this is not. This is a handcrafted, scripted, curated experience, level by level, designed with care, and a progress curve and all sorts of things. So this is not a roguelike in any way at all. Very surprising. So what do you do in this game? You play a little pixely 2D firefighter, side view, who gets dropped from an airplane into a place where there's this giant like random building on fire. So you're one of the firefighters. You go inside and you control with, you hold your button down and you can shoot a stream of water forward. You have a water tank on your back with limited water. And you get some power-ups as you go. You eventually get the ability to dash through flames. You get the ability to point your sprayer upwards and it creates like a little water shield. Like kind of imagine you're getting a hose and you point the hose straight up and like all that water is like going up and then splashing back down on you. So it kind of does that. You get a bonus water tank at some point, things like that, like pretty minimal, nothing like hugely game changing, but just like minimal upgrades over the course of the adventure, which is fine. And I think that you can play this game and finish it probably in like 2 hours, if not less, depending on your skill and the adjustments that you make. So you go into this facility, you start putting out fires, and at first it's pretty easy. Like you just like put out whatever fires you can see, and then after that, you open up the next door, but doors do not open if there's fire in the area. So you have to like put out all the fire in one area before you can move on. Simple to understand, very straightforward, basic. Later on, you get more platformy and the levels become slightly more complicated where maybe there'll be a locked door that you need to go back to. And maybe you need a key card. You got to find a key card somewhere. Sometimes in some levels, there are sprinklers that are inactive because the fire suppression system's not working. And so sometimes you have to like find the button to push to activate the sprinklers, and the sprinklers go on, and then that'll open the way to the next section, and then you can put out the fire there and move on. It's pretty straightforward, and it's not tricky at all. And the levels are of a good size, very small, but like manageable. Like you just go through them really quickly. And I think a lot of the challenge from this game comes from just avoiding being hit by fire, but also the fire spreads. And so if you don't take care in putting out this fire, areas that you think are clear will catch back on fire. And so you have to be really thorough. And later on in the game, you start getting these elements of where perhaps there's like a computer that's on fire and you need that computer. And if you don't get to it in a certain amount of time, it's going to burn up. And so you will not be able to progress. So it'll be like an arrow will show up on the screen. It'll be like, computer over here, 45 seconds, go. And you've got to like get to it. So fight the flames, get there before the timer runs out, put that computer out, and then use it to open up the next door. So there's key cards, those computers, like little platforms you can go up and down. And you're just like going down and down and down in this facility. It's got this really cool vibe to it where he's the firefighter's often talking to his base. He's like, oh, I'm going further. What's going on? He's kind of giving you like this little narrative. It's just a little bit, just enough to keep things going. You find files here and there, and I'm talking about like one file per level, and it's like maybe like one paragraph of text. We're not like Resident Evil, like reams of folders, and you're not doing a ton of reading. It's just enough of a little flavor to kind of fill in what's going on. And I'm not going to spoil anything because this experience is so short, but it's not just about firefighting. Like something else happens that I thought was fucking cool as hell. And my son thought it was cool as hell too. Like he dropped what he was doing to come watch me. So it is absolutely firefighting game, and I think it's really great. But there's also something else going on too, which was a really nice surprise, and I really thought it was just like awesome. I will say the controls are tight. The action is really good. It can be challenging at times. I found it to be somewhat challenging. Now, to the developers' credit, they put in a slew of options to make this game easier if you wish. You can basically give yourself infinite life if you want. You can give yourself a stronger stream from your hose so that rather than shooting like 5 blocks forward, it shoots like 10 blocks forward. You can give yourself extra water in the tank so you can spray your water for longer before it runs out. I forgot to mention, but there's like lots of little refill points all through the levels. So being strategic about when you refill is a thing in this game too. But it's well done. It's well done. There's other things. And there's a couple other like things you can tweak. How fast the fire spreads. A couple other things. So if you turn all of the accessibility features on and the difficulty features on, it can be a very easy, like you're almost, you are invincible, but like you can almost breeze through each level with very little resistance. You just have to really figure out like how to get the key cards, and also just have to put the fire out in a timely manner. But I mean, you can really make it very easy, or you can have it like a normal, make it pretty challenging, or you can like make it even harder and make it even more challenging. So I like that they give you so much options when you can tailor this to your own experience, which is good. I'm always in favor of that. That's excellent. I will say also, completed the game, thought it was rad. And then after you complete the game, there's a new mode called Hold My Beer, which is kind of the same basic thing, but remixed. There's new sections. It gets harder, and there's new challenges. And the developer straight up says when you unlock this mode, hey, this is a lot harder. Don't be afraid to turn on all the accessibility because you might need it. And I'm like, okay, bro, thank you for telling me. And also, thanks for including that. I will say also, you get a third bonus mode in this. It's called Kids Mode, and it's not what you think it is. It's fucking awesome, actually. So I thought Kids Mode was going to be like the easiest possible mode. No. It's a totally separate mode. And when you check this mode, the developer has a message pop up that says, hey, I basically made this for my kid. He or she is 3. All you do is you're invincible. The hose automatically aims itself to put out all fire you get near. And there's a bunch of cats, and you're rescuing cats. That's what you're doing. So if you have a child who is a young child and just wants to play a game that is appropriate for a very small child, that's exactly what this is. And that's so fucking cool, dude, because I was a parent who had a kid who wanted to play games. And if you haven't tried, it's really hard to find a game that a little kid can play successfully. It's very, very tough. I mean, you're limited to like basic Mario, and I don't even know what else. Like for me, I had a bunch of like basic stuff on Xbox Live Indie Arcade back in the day, 12 years ago. But like just finding stuff that's available for kids is really tough. So I thought it was so great. Like as a fellow parent and as someone who, appreciates video games, it was rad that this kids mode was in there. And I could easily see like letting a 3 or 4-year-old play this, where they just walk through, put out the fire, jump a little bit, save some cats, all the cats, nothing can die. Cats go back and dance on the fire truck when you're all done. Fucking awesome. I fucking thought it was so great. Just very nice addition. So overall, I think Nuclear Blaze is a really great game. Had a very good time with it for like the 2 hours it took me to finish. It did not overstay its welcome. It kept adding little nuances and tweaks that kept me interested. It had a nice twist once you got further into the game, where it became not just about firefighting, but something else, which I'm not going to spoil, which was awesome. It was just good. And I think the whole thing was like $10 or whatever, like optimal fucking game experience. It was just good all the way fucking through. I thought it was amazing. So thumbs up to Nuclear Blaze. I love when you have a little happy accident like that. It just comes out of nowhere, no announcement, no fanfare or anything. And it just turns out to be like a fucking great way to spend an afternoon. So cheers to Nuclear Blaze and Deep Night Games. That was rad. All right, folks, that is going to do it for this show. Those are all the games I have to cover this week. Before we bounce, I will cover just a couple of non-game things as a little added bonus. Usually it's movies, TV. That is exactly the case this week. Like I said, I haven't had a whole lot of time because we've been busy with other things, especially work. But we have watched some TV. My wife and I just recently finished Bodkin, which we mentioned earlier. We also finished Obituary, and before that, we finished Deadlock. And all of those shows are, I don't know if you want to call them cozy mysteries, but like small town mysteries. Deadlock was in New Zealand, and Bodkin and Obituary were both in Ireland, where they're in a small town, the ocean's nearby, weird things are happening in the town. You have your quirky local characters, people are solving mysteries, but there's also laughs, but there's also danger, but there's also, charm to it. I don't know. That's just like a real good zone to be in right now. It's really working for us. And so we watched all of those three that I just mentioned, and we wanted something else in the same basket. So someone recommended that we subscribe to Acorn TV. Had never heard of it, but basically it's like, I guess, English and UK TV programs, a lot of mysteries, a lot of procedurals and stuff like that, some comedies. And we're like, okay, we'll check this out. We tried our week's free trial. And one of the shows that this person suggested we try was the Brokenwood Mysteries. This is a New Zealand kind of procedural cop show where you've got this older detective coming in from the city. He meets the small town cops that are in this town called Brokenwood, and then they kind of just go around town investigating crimes, usually murders each show, and trying to figure out who done it. It is not a comedy. It's basically a cop show, but there are laughs. Like there's lots of funny interactions. I think some of the people are pretty quirky. There's a kind of a charming cast that they have. There's like a guy who like works on this grape farm. He's kind of a character. The main cop himself loves country western music. He's got kind of a goofy sidekick. She's a lady detective who is actually pretty cool, honestly. She has a lot of good funny lines, and she's kind of a good foil for the main cop guy. But she doesn't let him get away with some of his sexist bullshit sometimes, which I appreciate. It's just a good show. Like it's very warm and cozy. It feels a little bit like if you were to take the Great British Bake Off and make it a detective show. That's kind of what this show feels like a little bit. So I don't know how to explain that in any other terms, but in my head, it gives me the same kind of like warm, comfortable, fuzzy feeling that the British Bake Off does. And I feel like I really need that right now. I think maybe a lot of people need that right now. So we are really enjoying the Brokenwood Mysteries. We finished season 1. It's only 4 episodes, which kind of threw me for a loop. Like when you say a season, I'm American, right? So I think 22 episodes, 30 episodes, and it's like, yeah, we got 4 episodes. And I'm like, whoa, okay. Oh, that's very different. Each episode is 90 minutes, but still 4 is not very many. But also we loved it. We thought it was great. We're on season 2 right now. Very cozy, very comfortable. It's making me want to eat the New Zealand food. They have a lot of meat pies, which I love. I'm a big fucking fan of meat pies. I love meat pies. And they have a lot of cheese rolls, which we had to look up. I'm like, what is that? I want to have some of those cheese rolls. I want to have some of this New Zealand food. Also, the New Zealand accent is very distinct. I'm not going to do it for you now, but we're saying it to each other here in the house, and I feel like we're a bunch of dorks walking around saying New Zealand things, which is fucking stupid, but it makes me laugh, and I love it. So that's the Brokenwood Mysteries. I give that a big thumbs up. Just as a quick side note, if you like that vibe, it's not something we're watching now, but one of my favorite shows of all time, of my entire life, was Miss Fisher's Murder Mysteries, which takes place in Australia in the 20s. And the actress is somebody which I wasn't familiar with at first, but she actually is pretty famous. Essie Davis, I believe her name is. She's been in a number of things, but this is where I first had encountered her, and she's phenomenal as Miss Fisher. She's a very woman power, liberated, rich lady in the 20s, and she's going around solving crimes, not letting dumb guys tell her what to do. And she has this like, I don't know, this like steamy, like, that's not the right word. This kind of like, this like, this love affair with the local detective, but it's like very yearning. It's very like, they don't consummate. Like it's like a will they, won't they, but they don't. They never do. And I'm not going to spoil that. I mean, the relationship does develop, but they just kind of have this kind of like this vibe where you're like, oh my God, it's killing me that you guys are not getting together. Holy shit, will you guys please kiss or something? Because it's like, it's killing me. So they got a really good vibe like that. But the mysteries were so good. I love Miss Fisher, the best show ever. So if you want something in the same basket as Brokenwood or Deadlock or Bodkin or something like that. I think there's a lot of crossover here. Not exactly one for one, but I think it's in the same basket. So Miss Fisher's Murder Mysteries is fucking phenomenal. I love it, and it's one of my favorites of all time. The other thing we've watched this week is Mad Max Fury Road. The new iteration of this from George Miller that came out a couple years ago with Charlize Theron as Imperator Furiosa, and the other guy, whatever his name is, who has played Mad Max. What is that guy's name? Friggin' Hardy. That's right. Tom Hardy. So I've seen it before, and I liked it before. Okay, so look. I know people think that this movie is like the end all be all, best ever. Okay, cool. It's a good movie, right? But I have a soft spot in my heart for the original, not the original, but the second, the Road Warrior, which was the second of the original Mad Max trilogy. Because I'm old, and it was, back in the day, and that was like truly seminal, truly influential to so many movies that came afterwards, right? Like, I mean, we just refer to stuff as Mad Max shorthand because of that film, despite the fact that Mel Gibson turned out to be a piece of shit and all that stuff. But like, George Miller's still making good movies. Anyway, I thought Fury Road was good. Definitely strong visually, definitely some awesome action, but it was just kind of a weird movie in some ways. And I think part of it was that Charlize Theron did a great job, but I mean, real talk, I think Tom Hardy did a shit job in that movie. I just don't think his character as Max is good in that film. I don't think his performance is good, and it's really bothersome to me. I don't know what happened there, whether he was doing some kind of, I don't know, he had some kind of specific character angle in his head that didn't quite come across on the screen, or maybe George Miller didn't know what to do with him. I've heard rumors, I believe my wife told me that she heard from a friend who heard from a hairdresser who was a cousin of somebody who worked on the film that he was kind of a jerk on set. So I don't know if maybe some of that friction was coming through, but I watched it again because my son had never seen it. And like, it's definitely a good ass movie. Like, a lot of action is really cool. Like, they're driving down the fucking desert and those guys are on those poles and the flames from the guitar and the dust and everything. I mean, it's great from that perspective, but I feel like Tom Hardy is such a terrible actor in this movie. It kind of brings the whole movie down for me. I wish he had done something different with the character, or maybe just had a different actor altogether. So Charlize Theron is phenomenal. I think the action is great. I do think this is a good movie. I'm not slagging it at all. I just think Tom Hardy's performance is so bad that it just really distracts me, and I can't really like embrace it as wholeheartedly as I want to, because I think he just does a terrible job. So yeah, so that's it. It is definitely worth watching if you haven't seen it. We watched it obviously in preparation for the Mad Max movie, which just dropped recently. I forget the title of it, but they've done kind of the backstory for Furiosa to kind of tell you where she came from, which sounds very exciting. I've heard very good things about it. I'm waiting for it to hit the download services. So we'll watch that as soon as it comes out. And we wanted to brush up on our Mad Max before we did. But man, Tom Hardy, what's your deal, bro? You did a shit ass job in this fucking movie. Actively bad, but otherwise definitely good. Okay. All right, folks, that is a show. Before the closing music here, I would love it if you would leave a review, share the show on your social, but most important of all, please recommend it to a friend if you like what you heard today, because nothing beats good old word of mouth. Also, if you'd like to support the show and help with the cost of running the podcast, that would be great. If you like what you heard and you want to hear more, please do go over to patreon.com/the So Videogames podcast. Every dollar helps. Even $1 helps for reals. Also, if you want to join our Discord, that is absolutely free. Just hit me up. You can do that as well as send me your questions and comments. I'd love to get those as well. Hit me up, sovideogamespodcast@gmail.com. You can also reach me on social media, on Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky. It's my name, BRADGALLAWAY. Always, no O's. And this is going to do it for episode 392. Thank you again for joining me here on the So Videogames podcast, and I'll see you next week.